good Sunday morning, everybody, and thank you for watching. Beyond the headlines, it's an $80 billion question. Can the Texas Legislature eliminate all property taxes? Well, the Texas Senate Committee explored this possibility last week, but Texas senators aren't completely sold on the idea. Well, the Texas Senate Committee on Finance took a look at the possibility, but seemed a bit skeptical on how it could work. The committee's legislative budget board showed an $81.5 billion price tag that the state would have to cover. That's half of the $144 billion budget lawmakers allocated for the state's current two-year budget. In response, some lawmakers said they would have to recuperate the money somewhere else, like hiking the sales tax. Yet, top Republicans are still hoping to at least slash at property taxes when lawmakers reconvene for next year's legislative session. And that is where we are going to begin this morning. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have Sergio Mora, the former Democratic Party here in Webb County, and of course, Luis Villarreal, the general manager for KGNS.
Good morning,
guys.
Andy.
So what do you think about that? No property taxes at face value? Woohoo!
I mean, it sounds good in theory, but I mean, the money's tight already to begin with every session.
The Democrats need the money, and so there's no way we're going to cut taxes because the Democrats need to pay for all their stuff.
It's a Republican-led legislature. It has been for the last 20 years.
That's right. That's right.
So
Can we not just talk about
they did
cutting
great
taxes?
Advances. They did great advances last legislative
Yes,
session.
they did.
Yes, they did.
Yes, they did.
But
I was just
I think it's
telling
insanity to think that they can cut $84 billion out of
80 and a
it.
half.
Exactly.
80 and a
Yeah.
half.
So can we just agree on that?
Look, let's agree that it's election time.
Right, and somebody's going to say
And it sounds
something, and
great.
it sounds great. So can we go to break now? This is it. We're done. Thank you for watching.
I was talking before the show started that this past year when we paid our property taxes had to have been the best. It was like Christmas in November whenever we paid our taxes, because for the first time ever we saw lower school property taxes than we did city and county taxes, and I thought that was great, and that's because they did slash, or they added 100,000. You got up to 100,000 for your homestead exemption, so that was pretty neat. But to completely eliminate property taxes, and then what they were talking about was to make up for the money, they would have like a 22% sales tax. Everybody would have to pay 22% sales tax to make up for the $80.5 billion.
You should get rid of the income tax and property taxes and raise sales tax. Charge me on what I spend, not on what I make.
I don't think we don't have an income tax.
I know. I'm talking in general.
Doing that would be regressive, in that sales tax affects absolutely
everybody.
Good.
We're
that way
property
everybody
tax.
should pay, right? Isn't that the motto, that everybody should pay their fair share?
If it's lower income and it takes a lower income the same amount of calories as a higher income person, pretty much like you're passing on the burden to the lower income people. So it's already been studied. It's a regressive tax. It's not as fair as some. If you want to buy
property,
$3 million.
Property, you have to pay.
You
right.
pay
and if you don't own property, because you are a renter, then you don't pay property taxes. So doing a sales tax across the board obviously wouldn't seem fair to those that don't own property.
Well, yeah, I mean, basically.
Okay, so what is the hang on.
Okay.
What is the purpose of it? Let's dumb this down a little bit. What is the purpose of the tax?
Okay,
of any tax?
To fund
the government.
Exactly.
Yeah. So in any business, and I go back to my point, all these politicians, Democrats, Republicans, they're not business owners. They have never balanced a budget. They don't know what the heck it takes to run an entity. Give me a second. So you don't start by saying, how much money can I make? You should start with, how much money can I save first? And if you do that, if you cut off all of the fat from all of our government programs, not the ones that are needed. I'm not suggesting that you cut things that are needed. But if you really look at it and say, okay, do we really need $3 billion for white bathrooms at the Capitol or this or whatever?
That doesn't exist. There's no white bathrooms.
Okay, so if you start there and you do that, I guarantee you, we may not find $80 billion, but we may find $30 billion that you can then go ahead and take down to the constituency and say, you know what, we found $30 billion that we can cut in taxes somewhere.
They do that.
No, they don't do
The
that.
Republican-controlled
neither the
legislature
Republicans nor the
has
Democrats
cut to
do
the
that.
bone, and some of our most important programs, like education, for example, are severely underfunded when you compare it to the rest of the state.
Teacher salaries.
Teacher salary, et cetera,
Absolutely.
et cetera. But I mean,
Of course, that's a very touchy point because everybody hears that and they go, "Oh, we're against teachers." It's not that simple. There are a lot of
Yes.
other expenses that could be cut in order to fund teachers. The way we are right now, without touching anything, without moving taxes anywhere, I guarantee you that if we really wanted to fund teachers to better pay as they deserve, we would find the money without having to raise taxes or come up with new things. There is wasted money in government every day of the week, and we do not have leadership that can, just sit there and try and find a way to save the money. It happens at the local level, at the county level, at the state level, and at the federal level. So I'm done.
So Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star, for example, has spent already like close to $5 billion.
Right.
They replicate the job of the Border Patrol with no significant outcomes in terms of numbers.
100%.
Maybe we could start there.
We could start in many places.
But the thing is this.
Not build a border wall?
Yeah, but the thing is,
whatever. That one's not with taxpayer money, by the way.
but the thing is, Texas has no income taxes. Famously, other states do. Property tax obviously funds a big chunk of the government. Increasing
You know where else we could
sales
get money?
tax,
From people that drive Mexican vehicles illegally on this side and they don't pay registration fees on that too. There's another way we can get money.
There's an idea.
Get them at the border.
Well, get them at
The
their
license
houses here
plates.
because they live here.
basically,
No, get them at the school districts. When they're
at the school
dropping off their kids.
I think Luis should go to Senate Finance as a witness and just say all of this. So maybe they will.
Maybe they'll listen.
Maybe they'll listen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, the sales tax increase is regressive. It's been proposed before.
You can't do a 22% sales tax.
You can't do a 22% sales tax. So
But
hopefully,
there could be, Luis has a point. There could be a lot of places where you could cut the fat.
All I'm
there's a
saying
lot of
is-
riders. You and I know about riders.
All
Sergio,
I'm
and there's a
saying-
lot of
all I'm
riders that
saying-
just for study.
There's
We're
a
going to
ra-
study this, study that. Yeah.
there's a rainy day fund whenever
All
there's like a
all I'm
windfall, for
saying is we
example,
should
oil and
start
gas
from
profits.
we should
well,
we
yeah.
should turn this
in.
around and we should start from let's see how much money do we really need to operate the government.
Yeah.
Let's start there. And it's not going to happen. This is part of my utopian society that I wish existed, but it's never going to happen. But we spend all this time fighting as to how much some people should pay or not pay and all that. And again, both sides of the aisle laughing themselves all the way to the bank into getting reelected because they just keep feeding us stuff on both sides, and nobody is doing anything about really helping, about really paying attention to the money that is being spent, the money that is being wasted, the money that is being just misused that we pay. All of us, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or independent or Mexican or I don't care what you are. The government is not a good steward of our money. It is our money. I'm tired of hearing politicians come out there and say, we got X amount of $1 billion for this. No, you didn't. It's my money, and I deserve it, and you should spend it on me. It's not your money. It's taxpayer money. I'm
That
done.
is true.
Again.
Again. Okay. Well, hopefully the legislature, like we mentioned a little bit ago, they do meet in January. So this is going to come up once again. Governor Abbott did come out this past week saying that
Politics and show
he
business.
wants to cut more property taxes. Obviously, it's not going to go away completely, but he's wanting to do a little bit more. So let's see
Appealing
what
to
they
the
do.
base, right?
Of course.
That's
this is
that's
an election
that's
year.
the
I'm gonna
election
cut all
year,
your taxes.
and everybody's gonna go woohoo, and at the end of the day,
And then in January,
nothing.
they're going to be like, well, we looked at the numbers
And it doesn't make
it's not
sense.
going to work out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, where did he get the funds last legislative session? Didn't that come from the rainy day fund where he took some of that money to up
give
the
them-
We had a
homestead?
we had
Yeah.
a surplus,
Right.
a significant surplus that they were trying to get back to the taxpayers.
That's correct.
Yeah. And they were able to do it through property taxes and.
Yes.
Yeah,
If
so-
you ask me, they should have given it back directly to the people who
Like
paid
with a
it.
check.
Yeah, with a check. Write me a check and give me back the money. So.
Okay. Well, on that note,
when
we come back, the Texas Attorney General is suing Bexar County for a voter outreach effort he says could be illegal. We're going to talk about that when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. Well, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing one of the biggest counties in the state over a voter registration outreach effort. Last Tuesday, county officials in Bexar County approved an effort that would mail unsolicited voter registration forms to roughly 210,000 people. In the complaint, Paxton is arguing that it's illegal for county officials to arrange for such a mass mailing of unsolicited voter registration forms. Now, the Bexar County judge says the commission sought their own legal opinion and feel that the county has the right to mail out the forms. The judge also says there are safeguards in place to prevent any non-eligible residents from becoming a registered voter, even if they received a form in the mail. So this was Bexar County, obviously San Antonio, and a couple of little surrounding areas. This was their effort in trying to register more voters.
Yeah.
They obviously, like it said, sought legal opinion, thought that it would be a great idea to send everybody via mail, I would imagine, a voter registration card or whatever you have to fill out.
Correct.
What do y'all think about that?
I want to see what he thinks about
Well, I mean, you were talking about political theater, things done for political purposes. We talked about Ken Paxton last week. This falls right into the fact this is bare bones. More people register in a place like Bexar County. More people are probably going to vote Democrat. Ken Paxton knows that. He doesn't want that. So he is using legal technicalities to try to prevent that.
But
he is saying that non-citizens will register to vote.
Right.
The Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas Secretary of State have ways to prevent that.
They say that there's some that they've already determined how people cannot do that
Correct.
illegally.
Yeah.
So you have no problem with this?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Forget Paxton.
Well, look,
Forget Paxton.
I
not
have no
even-
problem with it.
Yeah,
I
it's-
think it was, you're thinking out of the box on how to register more voters that are not registered. How do we even know that they are Republicans or Democrats? We're just registering people to vote.
Yeah.
Okay.
At face
so neither
value,
one of
we're
you have
registering people
a
to
problem
vote.
with this.
First of all, this is not. You're not sending them mail-in ballots or applications for mail-in ballots.
just sending them
These are
registrations.
voter registration forms. It's the same thing that when you go get a driver's license, you're given the option: do you want to register to vote? That's how I register to vote.
And if you're not
Ultimately, you
going
want
in there if you're not going to go drive, like for instance, you don't need a car, you're not
Yeah.
going to drive, you take the bus, you take the subway, whatever.
If you're elderly.
If you're right, you don't have an opportunity to register to vote. So this was them thinking, okay, well, let's just mail it out like this.
So I don't have a problem with registering people to vote.
Yeah.
What I have a problem with is the fact that people who vote should have at least an inclination to understand what they're doing and not just check a box because somebody's telling me to do so. That's where my problem is with this.
Yeah.
But they're not doing that with this. They are just getting in the mail
I
a
understand
registration
that.
card.
I understand that.
Yeah.
If you don't care enough about what goes on in our governmental entities, if you don't care enough about our leaders and our policies, you don't care enough to go register to vote and then vote and get educated about this, I think it is a disservice. You are talking, you made it very clear, the masses, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying this. So probably, but the uneducated, and I'm not talking about uneducated from a education standpoint, the politically uneducated, governmental. No, they don't. Well, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But those masses that are manipulated into those bases that you often complain about are the ones you're trying to reach. And haven't you and I, for many years, said that the problem, one of our biggest problems that we are facing is the fact that our political parties keep catering to those bases and they keep siloing us further and further apart from each other. And so this is just another effort to keep policing on both sides.
This is a
but
county
so-
wanting its citizens to register to vote.
And just making
it's
it
a
more
county.
convenient
It's a
for
county.
them.
It's a
No.
county.
I see it as a
wanting-
convenience method.
It's a county
it's a
wanting more
commissioner's court.
Democrats to vote.
Yeah, but
No.
they don't know.
Yes,
you don't
it
know if
is.
it's going to be a
I
Democrat.
mean, if the Bears County, like if
or
Dallas
not.
County, Bexar County, Harris County, I mean, if they say, you know what, we want to increase our voter participation levels,
It
our
just so
voter
happens that they're gonna
registration
vote
levels are
Democrat,
really
right?
low.
Yeah.
Well, it just happens that urban cities, like
Right.
big cities, vote Democrat overwhelmingly. Rural areas and suburbs vote Republican.
Right.
And there lies the balance or imbalance in Texas that there's more people in the suburbs and the rural areas than in the actual inner cities. And I'm talking about Dallas, San Antonio, Houston.
So
all of those cities
on
have
a
city councils that
level
are Democrats, mayors that are Democrats, county commissioners that are Democrats. That's why it's very crazy when they say Texas is a Republican state, but if you go to the cities, like they're all Democrat. And that's why the Texas legislature is seriously trying to undo the power of these huge cities to govern themselves because they have Democratic tendencies.
So is there not, should we not be more worried about the actual electorate than whether they're Democrat or Republican? Should not that be what drives us?
Well, I mean, you can't.
What happened to us having a choice between
There
good?
was such a
what-
thing as a literacy test when
Okay.
you go
There
vote.
is
and-
no literacy
Yeah, well,
test.
it used to, like during the Jim Crow era, et cetera, to keep
I'm not
African
asking for-
Americans
I'm
from
not a-
voting.
I'm not asking for a
they would give them a
literacy test.
literacy test to prevent them from voting.
I am
They would say,
asking-
this
I am
guy
asking them
doesn't
for
have
B-
the intelligence to vote.
I am asking them
you
for
are making the same argument.
I am not making the same argument. I am asking them
You're
to
making
be.
the same argument.
I
Ultimately,
am asking them to do something because they want to do it, not because they're being pushed to do it.
I don't think they're being pushed. I see the whole thing
Yeah.
as a convenience
So
thing.
the
People
vans that go
people
pick up
are-
people and take them to voting places are not
if
dragging
they don't
people
tell
to
them
do that?
I
who
don't
to
think-
vote for,
They don't
that's
tell
fine.
them
If
to
they don't
vote.
care
They're-
enough
it's
to do
all
it on
about
their own.
A lot of
convenience
people
and-
don't have cars. A lot of people don't have the time. A lot of people need like that organization. Like, hey,
So
come
what
on, let's go
happened-
vote.
what happens-
That's where the
Right.
whole controversy, especially what we talked about last time, erupts. Is like, are people?
If we really wanted to
in
do it,
good
we would
nature
vote electronically
helping-
with our phones and get it over with.
Oh, now that would be cool.
Dude, Democrats
do it.
would
Be
go
awesome.
crazy
Let's do
for
it.
that.
Let's
They would
do it.
love that.
Amazing.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's all about convenience. I don't see this effort
Yeah,
any
they-
difference than going into DPS and the lady there at the teller window saying, or talking to my son and saying, "Do you want to register to vote?" Well, of course, yes.
You don't have
So
to
what's the
register. You can
difference?
still vote the day of,
What's
even
the
if you're not
difference?
registered. Of course.
No, that's also
They just
that's
made it
also
more convenient because now the
You don't even
registration
need
card is
an
in the mailbox.
identification.
No,
to
okay,
vote.
okay.
So, I mean-
Just by Ken Paxton making the argument, we want to prevent non-citizens from voting. You know exactly where the
Do you think
political attack line
do you
is
think
coming from.
non-citizens should vote?
No, I do not think
Do you think
non-citizens should
criminals,
vote, but they-
convicted
But that's the
criminals should
argument
vote?
that he's
but they
making.
don't vote. And the thing is, he is making it.
But they do vote, Sergio.
No, non-citizens can't vote. And
But
like
they
said,
find ways of doing. There are some organizations that find a
No.
way to get them done.
If
you don't believe that
don't
that's
have
ever
a Social
happened.
Security card, the Social Security Administration,
I've never
check-
been asked. I've never
they
been asked
check-
for a Social Security number
You're
when I vote.
registered because they checked, and you
Who checked?
are a citizen.
I
The
don't
Secretary
know
of State's
that.
office. The
I
Secretary of
don't
State's
know that.
office consults with Social
I don't
Security and
believe
the Texas
that.
Department of Public Safety
I don't
to
believe
double
it.
check. They
I
invest
don't believe
a
it.
lot of money. This is
You
this
trust
is,
them in
this
doing
is
this?
what happens.
Really?
This is what happens when someone like Donald Trump loses an election and he says it's stolen and he tells half of the country that our election system doesn't work. It's one of the best, and there's very little fraud. But
there's
now
some fraud.
Republican officials can say, we're going to enact anti-democratic measures. We're going to prevent people from voting because people steal elections. They don't. Trump lost. Get over it.
How is wanting to make sure that somebody can vote, verifying that? How is that
No.
wrong?
No. That is wrong in that they want to prevent Bexar County from sending out voter registration cards because
I'm
they're
not-
saying
I'm not
that
asking
this
that.
is an effort for
You're
non-citizens
saying-
to vote. And then the Texas government,
Yes.
held by Republicans, said that's impossible. Non-citizens can't register to vote. We have all these measures
Safeguards
in
in
place
place.
Right.
to prevent that.
I still don't see the problem
But the
with
thing
it.
is, that doesn't matter. To Ken Paxton, he achieved his goal.
Which
he told
was?
his base, hey, I'm fighting
So-
Hispanics
So
in
here's
Bexar
the problem.
County,
He agrees with me, but only when it's convenient to him.
You're agreeing with me too.
No, okay,
Yeah.
well, so what happened to our choices, Sergio, being from good and better as opposed to bad and worse? When did that
No, but it's
change?
just
When did
that
we
they're-
go from choosing between good and better
these people
to
are,
bad and worse?
These people are obviously very
These
smart.
people are who?
These people, the Attorney General, the people in Bexar County, they're all very smart, obviously.
Who are these people again?
The Attorney General, Ken
Yeah,
Paxton.
and he's
is
an
a-
elected official?
He's an elected official.
And all these people in there are also
Bexar
elected
County
officials?
commissioners, yeah.
All these elected officials are very smart people that have our best interest at heart.
No, they want
All
to
of
win.
them.
They want to win elections. Ken Paxton wants to prevent
And he needed
people
to
that
do
are
the
likely
lawsuit.
to vote
And the commissioners
Democrat.
and the commissioners in Bexar County don't want to win elections.
The commissioners
Isn't that
in
the
Bexar
biggest
County,
problem?
look,
I
I don't
think-
know if they said, hey, you know what, let's do something to increase Democratic votes. I don't think so. But I can see commissioners in a county saying, you know what, let's think of ideas. Our voter registration numbers are real
Are
low.
low.
How can we increase them?
I say
And this is
kudos
a-
to them for thinking out of the box.
I say
Yeah.
kudos to Ken Paxton. Go get him.
No.
Don't
Kudos
let
to
them
for thinking
vote.
out of the box. And I think that Webb County should do the same thing.
Yes.
Let's
Don't
mail
let
them-
everybody
don't let
a
them
voter
vote.
registration
Vote.
card.
Everybody register to
Don't
Absolutely.
vote. Don't vote.
Luis wants you not to
Don't
vote.
vote.
Go vote.
Go vote, register to vote. Also, the deadline to register to vote if you want to vote in November is October the 7th. So
You can
on
still
that
vote even
note-
if you miss that deadline.
Stop.
You
We
can.
need to
You can
register
vote
to
twice.
vote.
You can vote twice. I voted twice.
Oh my God, don't listen to them. Well, it's the one thing our panelists cannot stop thinking about. Sergio.
Well, you guys, you know that one of the biggest obstacles for adoption of electronic vehicles is the charging issue. Like
Right.
you have to get it installed in your house. You have to go to these charging stations that sometimes broken.
We had a
never work.
Tesla. It was
Yeah.
a pain in the butt.
So now a few cities are test driving this new idea, which is charging lanes. Basically, just like the wireless chargers that you buy, it works sort of the same. If you get in this lane, the whole thing is going to have volts that charge your battery while it's driving over it.
Kind of cool.
They already did a project, a quarter mile in Detroit, and they're doing a mile in Florida, and it's not that
So how fast can you be
crazy.
going?
Wow.
Supposedly really fast. Supposedly really
That's
fast.
interesting.
And it's not like the part where it's the charging part. For example, in the 1 mile stretch in Florida, it was like $14 million for the actual installation of that. Which
$14
is,
million is how much that costs?
Yeah,
For
which
one-
is not
one-
for
one-
1 mile.
1 mile.
1 mile.
But basically, you run over it 1 mile, you get a pretty decent charge.
Huh.
I
Okay.
mean, considering what else they spend on
Yeah.
in terms of road infrastructure,
Okay.
it might be worth
Luis.
it.
Well, as you know,
Oh, my
our wonderful
gosh.
host here is either, depending on when you're watching this, you're either watching it the day before or the day after.
Wow, I can't believe you all did this. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's cool. Oh my gosh, these are pictures
Very
that
nice.
are all over the place.
So it is Mindy's birthday,
Thank
and so
you.
as part of our family, Mindy, I want to wish you a very, very happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that very
Happy
much.
birthday,
Yes,
Mindy.
I finally turned 26 years old.
26 again. You
26
can vote
again.
now.
Oh my God, I can vote. I love it. Thank you guys. I appreciate it
Happy
very much.
birthday.
Thank you very much.
And you can share those, by the way.
And I can share these. Yeah, they're all my favorites too, especially this one right here, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Yummy. Well, my one thing, I'm so excited because we are kicking off. There it is. We are kicking off Teacher of the Month. We are in season 3. I love saying that. Season 3 of Teacher of the Month. KGNS honors, together with Joey Theus, our sponsor, we honor 2 teachers every month. We choose them from nominations that are submitted on our webpage, kgns.tv. We have an online nomination form that's very easy to fill out. You just press the submit button after you type in why you believe your teacher deserves to be recognized. And then we will go, Joey and I, and a little entourage will go and surprise the teacher in their classroom, always unsuspecting. Sometimes the teacher teachers are told by their principal to expect maybe some state auditors or, maybe district officials that are going to be coming in, and then it turns out to be us. So the look
They're
on their
gonna go
faces
check
are
their
so
voter
classic.
registration.
That's just mean, dude.
Yeah.
You terrify them for a few
Yeah, and then
hours.
we walk in with the cameras and there are, deer in headlights, but I love it. It's so much fun to do. So please submit your nominations. 2 teachers per month get recognized. So thank you, gentlemen, so much for this very riveting issue of Beyond the Headlines. We'll see you next Sunday for another issue of Beyond the Headlines. Have a fantastic weekend.